After all the fights, all the problems we went through, every disappointment, every hard time we have had, we lost our home, we lost our business and income. We had no alternative, no other jobs, no other income. So, seeing that everything was gone, what were we supposed to do? They said, "Oh, you are German, you can go back to Germany." I think it hit all of
Well,
us
it
hard,
did
right?
hit all of us because our only other option was to go to Germany.
So this beautiful, gorgeous specimen of a woman, this is my mom, Sabina. Yes, that's her. She decided she wanted to check out the country where reggae came from, so she jumped on a flight with her two little boys, Alyosha and Dominic, and made her journey to Jamaica. Once she arrived, she fell in love with the country and also found herself a little lover boy who eventually became her husband and her third child's father. Even though she was warned by a chicken not to marry this man on her wedding day, she proceeded either way and ended up being cheated on with their babysitter and basically left without an explanation while being pregnant. Them say I obia still, but hey. But on a more serious and uplifting note, mom was blessed with a beautiful baby girl, which you all know as Pretty Eyes today. But before she was born, she went on some interesting journeys way before any of her other siblings, smuggling drugs on a boat to Florida. This all came about because money was running tight and mom was left by her husband without a trace. Once born while mom was sitting on a cooking pot, Mayumi, aka Pretty Eyes, brought back some more joy into mom's life. The return to Jamaica resulted in further ups and downs, with stories such as being robbed and knife being held at Mayumi's throat, over to constantly trying to keep our heads above water, to plenty opportunities just falling into my mom's lap, such as owning the Huntress Marina and living on a houseboat, to meeting another man and surviving his antics. This is where I come into the picture. A resilient baby girl being born on a stormy Sunday morning on the houseboat you just saw. Despite my mom being kicked in her belly by my dad while she was pregnant with me, this little girl decided that she wouldn't be that easy to get rid of. Ha ha, joke's on you. This person you all now know as Melody, Mel or the Mermaid, had finally arrived and life continued on with lots more ups and downs. For example, our home, the houseboat, sinking on Mayumi's 13th birthday, leading to a road being built where our marina was laid, and us losing more and more of our footing and existence in Jamaica, to us constantly trying to revamp and rebuild and readjust, but at some point it still isn't enough. No matter how hard you try to stay in a country that accepts you, but then again didn't accept you. And this is how we have landed at today's video. If you want to know all the details about some of these events I just mentioned, then go and check out the previous 30 plus episodes and you'll know everything that you need to know to understand what we are speaking of today. Let's get back to today's story time of how I lost the only place I knew of as home. Hey my lovelies, it's your girl Mel. Welcome back to my channel. And we are here with mommy, so I already know say it's another story time with mommy.
Yes.
So the last time we left off with the story of how we had to leave Jamaica, but there were like a few people asking. They didn't quite understand why you said you owned the marina but basically were renting the land from the landlord. Yeah, they don't understand that.
Oh,
So we need to clarify that part first.
Okay, well, to get access to the dock on the marina where the boats were docked, we of course needed to go through a piece of land, because I mean it was not like there's a road and then there's nothing and there were the docks. So basically we did rent the land before from our landlord, and the whatever was on the water was not necessarily ours, because the thing is too, in Jamaica you cannot own anything that is on the water. The Port Authority would own it. So basically, but I own the building on it because I built it. So
you own the building on what? The water?
On the water. Right? Like, even if I had when I had the houseboat was mine. It was on the water there, but of course the water is not mine. That belongs to the island or the Port Authority. So that is why the building itself was mine. The land before was leased or rented, and that is when our water part was gone through the road, and we still had the rent contract with the landlord to have that land before it. And that is when we built again the restaurant part.
So basically when you bought the marina in the first place,
I did not buy the marina in the sense. I rented the land, and I got, if you want, if I bought the marina, I bought the building. I bought the building. I bought the restaurant equipment, whatever was in there, Yes. But not the land before.
Yes, so he also leased the land in front of it. So basically you took over the contract that he had with the landlord.
Right.
But the marina itself, the building, the wooden part
that was mine.
That was
because
what
I bought the construction. I did not buy the piles in the water though. I just had the building. And as it had been there previously, nobody was objecting to it. But the point was basically the building. Now that's why the Port Authority could practically throw us out, is because it was on the water, and you cannot own anything on the water. That was the thing.
So that is what they didn't understand, how you own something yet you had a landlord and blah, blah.
Yeah. So to get access to the building, the land before, I had to rent.
So I hope you guys understand now. So she owned the marina, that is
building.
the marina building, and you had to, the property that was in front of it to get to the marina, that was the part that needed to be leased. Because there was no other way to getting to the marina other than through that land.
But that had been a thing from a very long time, so it practically came together.
The previous owner also had it
exactly, and even from
way
before that, it used to be a lumber wharf where boats would stop to load lumber. So from them time, the land was supposed to be rented, and the wharf itself was on the water.
Okay, so hope that cleared up those questions, and now you can get into your story.
Disclaimer: the stories that I'm going to tell in this series are my experience, my truth, and my point of view over the past 38 years that I have been in Jamaica. And it's in no way intended to slander any person, the culture of Jamaica, or the island as a whole. Okay, well, we practically just landed in Germany now with our belongings that we had left. Basically, we left a few little things in Jamaica, but basically everything else was gone, given away, sold, whatever. All we had was our few little suitcases and stuff. Now, luckily, the apartment where my mother lived was empty and available. And
so in the years between her death,
was not years, it was
well,
months.
Months, right?
Well, no, it was, hold on, it was November 21. Yeah, it was like not even a year. Like 10 months.
Did the apartment get rented in that time, or was it vacant?
No, it was vacant.
Okay.
The whole time it was empty. So we had at least a roof over our heads when we came to Germany. I mean, that was a big plus already.
Imagine you go back to Germany and have nothing to go back to.
The thing is that apartment is not very big. I mean, it's 645 square feet or 60 square meter, and we had like 3 rooms, which one was a living room, or is a living room, 2 are bedrooms, then 1 bathroom and a kitchen. And at the time we were 6 people, because it's like Yasha's then girlfriend came with him. So we kind of went in the apartment. We split up 3 and 3 for each bedroom. Like I had Mayumi and Melody with me, and the 2 boys, and Yasha's girlfriend would stay in the other bedroom. And the living room then was our quarters to meet, eat, have some space otherwise, you know. So we kind of went there and occupied the apartment. Now over the years I had kept a few friends in Germany, and they heard about our story, and they were very, how to say, they felt with us, and knowing that we came there in September. Now September is autumn. Autumn is getting cool in Jamaica. Not yet cold like winter, but it's getting much cooler. Now none of us had winter clothes. Because in Jamaica, what you do with winter clothes, right? So what they actually did is they searched around in their households and stuff, and gathered some clothes together, some warm clothes, and then my mother was living alone in the apartment, so of course she didn't have enough bedspread or bed covers and stuff. So they had, all of them had something to give, you know. So basically when we reached there, they came and said, here you have bed duvet, covers, look what you can use of these clothes and stuff, and was really helpful. They were really nice. So at least for the very beginning we would be okay, you know. And then we kind of started to first catch here and catch there to sleep, and then we found some way to even build a bed or something, you know. Some were sleeping on the sofa in the living room at first, my mother's bed, and then we had a smaller bed, and so everybody got a place at first. What you were saying?
No, I was saying then eventually we built the bunk beds.
Yeah, then we built some bunk beds in the 1 bedroom, like some upper bed, and somebody could be underneath, so at least the 3 people in that room were safe. Were you sleeping in my bed, or were you sleeping with Mayumi? I don't even remember. But anyhow, the 3 girls were in 1 bedroom then as well. And I have to be very grateful that in Germany we have a very good social system. Because imagine now, we reached Germany, I barely had enough money to pay the tickets. We reached over there and had only a few little, at the time it was, no, it was euro already, euro left. And so practically the very next day, the whole family went to the, how you call the Bürgerberatung, what would that be? Would like go to the, like something like town hall or something, right? Where all the offices were, and where we would report that we were just coming back from Jamaica, and none of us had our income at the time, and we didn't have any money, and to please give us some help.
Isn't it like welfare?
It is welfare. It is. So, and they were alright with the story we had, and basically I said, look guys, I'm sorry, but we do not have really any money left to buy food and stuff, and I got some money right away from them. Practically before I left out of that, or we left out of that office, I got some money from them. And then of course it take a little time for the papers to be processed. And But as it turned out, no, I mean, all of us would get welfare, which then would pay the apartment, would pay food, wouldn't give us any much money, but that is for how we could buy a little material to build the bunk beds then and stuff. So the beginning was kind of easier through that, of course, but I think for the children it was more of an adventure. Like, oh yeah, well, even Yosha had been in Germany previously and done his civil service, so for him was like, oh, I'm going back and I have my friends there, and he didn't really care at that point in time. For Nikki it was a lot harder because he never really wanted to leave Jamaica at all, and to tell you already, he never felt good in Germany. The two girls, like Melody, was too smart. She didn't care. I mean, where the family was is where she wanted to be. So basically, for you, I don't think it was a big thing, or was it?
I mean, it was, because you're leaving basically everything that you have known so far.
Yeah.
And you're going into a country. I couldn't speak a word of German them time.
Yeah, but you did learn already a bit when we spent the 4 months before.
Not a lot, though.
Not a lot, but at least
so
a
it's
bit.
it's still very strange to me, and not what I'm used to. So of course it affects me.
And Mayumi was at the time, she just turned 16 basically, and she was in her puberty badly. And she had to leave her boyfriend back here, and I mean, she was the most rebellious one, you know. For her it was, I don't want it here, I want to go back to Jamaica, but well, so be it, you know, we couldn't do it, you know. I mean, life had different plans for us. And me, no, my part, I was actually really, I don't know if you can call it traumatized or whatever, but I was extremely depressed, because everything I had built in Jamaica over the years and fought for hard. I mean, if you have followed my stories, you know how many troubles we went through, and it was gone. It was just, you know. And at that point in time, I was 47 years old. And of course, then you have a good stretch of life in front of you. And I was like sitting there and saying, what the heck? What am I going to do with the rest of my life? I'm in a place I don't want to be. I lost the job I wanted to have. I lost the home that I liked or loved. And yes, we were lucky enough to have the opportunity to go to Germany and have the opportunity to have a roof over our heads and at first get some money from the government. But still, for me, it was like, no, like a bad dream, you know. And can I please wake up? Can I please wake up? But no waking up. And now, we are not people that would live off welfare for any long time. So first thing I did after that, I went to the Arbeitsamt, which is the office where you would look for work, which I had to do anyhow, because being on welfare at that moment, but young enough to work, I would have to report there anyhow in order to find a job. So I went there, and I felt like kind of comfortable, because remember, I used to teach German to foreigners before I came to Jamaica, and even while I was in Jamaica and visiting Germany, I was always working in a school in between too. So I thought, well, let them give me a job like that again, and then I would be okay. So I reached that office, and there was a lady sitting there. So we started to talk, and I tell her what I want. And I told her to look, I used to work as a teacher, so maybe that would be an opportunity to get back into that job. And the woman started laughing. And she said, but you don't have no certificate. You have nothing. Nowadays, you have to have at least your base studies for teaching. And I never did study it, because at that point in time when I got the job at first in the early 80s, they needed teachers so badly they would take anybody without no certification. That is how I slid into that job. But I had very good recommendations. I had to prove I had been working for so and so long. So I said, but look, I have this. And she said, no, you need the certificate. So
the old place that you were working before?
That school was closed.
Oh, okay.
At that time. They did close that school. So I had no... If that school had been there, I wouldn't have had a problem at all. But no, I would have to go probably in a different system or school or whatever. And that wasn't possible.
Okay.
So then I looked at her and said, okay, fine. So what else could I do? You know, and then she looked at me, you know, that is going to be very difficult. You're too old. And I was like, I am what? You know, it's like, I was just 47 years old. So, I looked at her and said, what, I'm too old? I'm just 47 and not 67 or older. So, and she said, yeah, but with today's working market and seeing that you do not really have any papers for nothing, it will be very hard. And then she said, well, she would see if she would find something for me, but until then I would just have to go home and wait, basically. So that was not a very nice information that I got there. So I went back home, and a little bit after, well, the second problem now was to get my children back into school. I mean, at least the two girls. The boys didn't have to go anymore. Of course, they were old enough, but my two girls. Now, luckily, the same school that Melody had been in before, when I came back there and I told them the situation, and seeing that they had admitted her already one time, she slipped into there very easily. Which I was very, very grateful about, because the school was just across there. I mean, she had to walk, what, like 100 yards and she would be at the school. Now, Mayumi was the next person to get into school. So seeing that she had been in high school here, and she was not a super student, but she wasn't that bad neither. We have different school systems in Germany. Like after the prep school, we have something called Hauptschule, which is basically the minimum required level of education, and it only goes until you're basically 16, 17. Then we have the middle section, which would be like Realschule, which would be like a comprehensive school.
Ist Gesamtschule nicht comprehensive?
No, I don't think so. And then we would have the gymnasium, which is like high school. And we have one more school form, where all three of them are integrated in one school. So basically, which I love that idea, is a student can go, start there, and then discover how far they really want to go or can go, you know? So, of course, I tried to get Mayumi in that school at first. So the Gesamtschule, which would have like all three school systems integrated in one. So basically a student that started could develop to whatever level, or decide to leave the school at the former two levels as well. When I went to that school now, they told me, no way we can take her. She is, our school is overfull and we cannot take any more pupils. And anyhow, she's 16 already, so we don't have to. Because in Germany, schooling, of course, is compulsory. And I was like, oh, well, what now? So basically, I went to an office, for the school office, and I said, okay, this is my daughter, she's 16, she comes from high school in Jamaica. I would like her to continue schooling. What can we do? Now, seeing that her main language at the time was English, her German was far from perfect, they suggested the only way they could help her is to put her in the lowest form of school for the time being and see how she would develop. And I just wanted her in school, so I said, all right, do that, you know. And so she started that school, and of course for her, I mean, a lot of things they were teaching there for her was like, been there, done that, know all that, you know, because come on, she came from high school here and went to a form that was much below her knowledge. Worse with English. Of course, the girl was fluent in English, right? And I remember I had this big quarrel with her English teacher. Because in the beginning, when she went to school, of course, she had to follow all the courses, and so the English course, and then the teacher would give her some homework or would give her tests, and so not only her, the whole class tests, you know, and I mean, she, knowing her English, would do it how she knew it, but the teacher, of course, wanted a certain way to answer, which was completely not English. You know, I mean, nobody, neither in America, Canada, England, any other English-speaking country would ever speak so. So Mayumi did what she did, and of course it was, in my eyes, flawless, but the teacher gave her always some, oh no, this is wrong and this is wrong. So and then I discovered that teacher had a lot of mistakes in her schooling thingy, what she gave them. So I was like, what? And what? And, you know, and one day I just got fed up. I was shortly after she started the school, and I said, okay, may I have to talk to your teacher. So I went to the school, and I approached the English teacher, and I sat down with her and tried to explain to her that what she was doing there was maybe not quite correct. And I brought the papers where I found the mistakes. And I would lie down in front of her and say, excuse me, ma'am, but this is wrong, and this is wrong, and this is wrong. Incorrect, completely. And then I explained to her, I said, look, what you are doing, I understand that you have to follow your school protocol and your syllabus, exactly. But in our case, you have somebody here who has been growing up with the English language. I mean, it's her main language. German is not her main language. And if you cannot accept how she speaks perfect English and writes perfect English because it's not in your syllabus, then we have a problem. Because I don't want my daughter to learn some English that is impractical.
And the English that you learn in the German school is like basic English.
Real basic,
like it doesn't really help you to, like, if you were to travel somewhere, it wouldn't necessarily help you. No. It's like how we would learn a second language in high school,
like
and
Spanish,
you forget everything,
or French,
like you don't retain any of it.
Exactly.
So it's not advanced English or anything like that. It's really basic.
So the end of the story was basically, I mean, she was nice. I mean, she understood the problem that was there. So she went to the principal of the school, and it was decided that Mayumi would be exempt from the English. Or she would get the best grade and done. But she didn't have to attend classes. So that problem was solved, luckily. And I think what happened to her in school, that might be one thing that she could tell you personally, and you could tell to what happened to you in school, maybe one next time. But basically, I was happy my two daughters were in school, and through a friend of mine who was a manager of a cafe in Bielefeld, my two sons got a job as well. They had this big kitchen. I mean, these people had about 90 people working for them because they had long working hours, opening hours, and they needed a lot of staff. So basically, my two sons slipped into the kitchen work over there. They basically started as helpers and dishwashers. But then very quickly, the management realized that they were chefs, that they could cook, that they could do, and they were well organized. They had experience, of course, through our Marina restaurant. So they rose up pretty fast in the ranks, and pretty quick they had their kitchen jobs like chef. And Yosha told me that even after a short time, he would have to decide in the morning. Every day they had a special for the day. That he would have started to decide in the morning which special for the day they would make. They had a weekly special as well, which was given to them by the management. It was like, and they would have to learn how to prepare it, because it's like sometimes it was dishes they never even knew before. So I mean, they did pretty well in that job, both of them, and it was like, so they came off welfare. That was very good already. We were still on, but seeing the person that I am, I just looked through newspaper ads and stuff for jobs, and then I saw this ad where they were called Sonnenschein. It's sunshine. They were looking for drivers for handicapped people, and I just said, okay, let's see now. And then I applied, and when they applied for the job, they took me right away. And I would get like a little small bus, you know, like a VW bus or a Toyota bus, whatever, the minibus them. They were empty in the back, and we would have a ramp, and then I would have my clients, my firm clients. I mean, I would have to leave out the house by 6:30 in the morning. Reach the first one at little before 7, and then he would come down in a wheelchair, and we would have to push up the wheelchair in the bus and put it in front and fasten it, of course. I mean, that nothing could happen. I had a co-driver with me. I was a driver, and she was beside me, just helping me with the wheelchairs, and they were frigging heavy. And we would have like 4 wheelchairs then in the back. Eventually go from address to address where the people were living and pick them up and put them up, and then I would drive for another almost 45 minutes to their workplace.
So they all worked at the same place?
Yeah.
Okay.
There is well, I might have to explain. We have this big facility in Bielefeld where they do a lot for handicapped people, right? It's like a village. And a lot of them live outside with their families as well. But there is another part, a little further out from Bielefeld, where they have working spaces for those who are capable of doing something, right? Finally learned. Which is not any really hard labor. Like they would sort screws in little plastic bags, or some labor that
basically just work that they could manage, that
right, and they would earn our money too.
Still, you know, have them in the reality
of
society.
Have as a normal life as much as possible.
Yeah.
Like giving them a sense of duty as well, and not just having them hanging around in the house the whole day. Which was wonderful for them, because they would meet people as well. They got lunch there, everything, and then so the morning drive was to bring them there, unload them, basically bring them to where they were working, and then I would drive back home, which would take me another 45 minutes, and then same thing, reverse. By 2:30 in the afternoon I had to pick them up. So my day was like from 7 to 9 I was basically on the road, or 6:30 to 9 I was on the road. In the afternoon again on the road, and in the meantime I had a few hours off. But still, a few hours off doesn't help, you know, because it come like, you know, you have to head out again. You can't do nothing. And I'm telling you, that work was paid lousy. I have worked practically 20 to 25, it depended on traffic, hours a week, and I got 200 and say now it's like $300 a month for that. So for $100 for 100 hours I got $300. So I was really paid lousily, you know.
So
From Monday to
basically
Friday I was working. I had the weekend off. Plus I had the car. I had to keep the bus because of course I couldn't pick it up or leave it somewhere. And around where we lived, to get a parking spot was the hardest thing on earth. I even got a special permit for the car so I could park at certain spaces. But I told the firm already, I said, guys, I don't know if I can do without a ticket. And if I get a ticket, I cannot, from the 300 little US dollar, I cannot pay a 10 or 20 US dollar ticket to come off my salary, right? So they said, no, we understand. If anything, just give us the ticket and we will take care of that. So basically, I mean, although it was a lot of hours for a little bit of money, and of course we did not come off welfare with 300 US dollar a month, but at least we had less from them, and they would appreciate that I was working too. They saw I was not somebody lazy, sitting at home not doing nothing. And actually the work was kind of fun because those guys, I tell you, we had so much fun together. Most of the time when we were driving, we were laughing our heads off, or we would be singing, or, you know, it's like seeing that's always the same people I was driving to. It's like you get a little bond with them, you know, and so we had, it was really a nice, I appreciated that part of the job. I did not appreciate the hours because the payment was that lousy, because they only counted the time from when you pick them up to you leave them at their workspace as working time.
Oh, so they would drive.
So the drive pick to the first person and then back home was not counted. But that took about more than half of the time. You know? So that is how I get to so many hours with that little bit of pay. Now, if you saw just that period of time, the pay wasn't too bad. But it wasn't realistic because I should have been paid from the time I'm on the road to the time I come back. So I did that job for a few months. And actually I worked there almost a year, I would say. And I always had trouble with the parking situation, and for a good time they were doing the, and I always explained to them, I said, guys, I'm trying my best. Sometimes I was driving around for 15 minutes, half an hour, just to find a parking spot, you know, that would not charge me. So 1 month they come and give me my paycheck, and when I look on the check, they took off money for tickets. And I was like, excuse me, and I didn't get much tickets neither, you know. If I get one a month, it was a lot, because I really try my best to avoid it. So when I got this paycheck now, and they took off 2 tickets, like from the months before and this month. The person who gave me the check, me just give her the car keys and say, goodbye. Because from 300 US, them take you off another 30 US. Only 270 leave for 100 hours of work. I said no, very sorry, but no. Let me give them back the key and me quit the job, because that didn't make sense at all. But that was close to Christmas. I think it was in November, beginning of November, and in Bielefeld we have a Christmas market. And I saw an ad again in the newspaper, and they were looking for a vendor for a stall selling honey and candles and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, that job done, let's try this. That would only be for 6 weeks or so, but the payment wasn't too bad. So actually I went there, applied, got the job, and at least for 6 weeks I had another job. So you can see we really tried to settle into our lives. The boys got their job, they went to school, I tried my best to earn a little money on the side, still feeling completely distraught in my head and still being very, very depressed, but still I have to say my children gave me the whole strength that I needed at that time, you know, because I mean, hey, you're a mother, you can't give up. Only because, not only, but I mean, your life breakdown, so what? Pull yourself up, you know, and try your best. But I tell you the God to honest truth, it took me a long time to get over that. A long time. And the whole time I was feeling homesick to Jamaica. I mean, especially as we came in September and then now the long and cold winter. Oh my God. I mean, that would have been the first winter in quite a while for me. No, like we had a few months in the time when I went with Melody, but still, you know, it's like I'm not a winter person. Never have been. I mean, in my entire life, the only time when I like the winter is if we have snow and clear skies. Then it's beautiful and nice. But where I come from, it's just gray, wet, cold, and nasty, and depressive. So the winter was not really a good time to reach in Germany at all. Anyhow, this is it for today. We are going to find some more stories from Germany to tell you. I hope you enjoyed this one, and yeah, see you next time.
Thank you so much for, you know, watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And this is a longer one, so I can't complain, because the last two they complained about.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, we will be having some more stories. I know that there's some funny drunk stories from my siblings and all the antics they kept up, and we are going to dive a little bit more into some stuff that I went through as well. But yeah, that will be the next story time. So thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.
See you in the next video. Bye.